Hello.
We got there,
It's a race.
man. We did it. It is. That was the fastest countdown in history. You guys missed it.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm like, whoa. Okay.
Whoa, and here we
It
are.
feels it feels like feels like I should be racing you to something now, but
Right.
there's nothing.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't be erasing me. That's not your job.
Is that like emailing you?
Yeah, like erasing.
So it's electronic racing?
So if I'm an eraser,
Yeah, you're like an
whoa.
esports racer
Yeah,
guy.
right?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yes.
Why don't we have other things in the esports? Like we need other kinds of esports that aren't
I,
like games,
I know, right?
but like electronic sports where like people run with electronics on them,
With
like
tasers, and they
jetpacks and
try
stuff.
and tase each other.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the one.
Yes. Actually, I heard a
Hmm.
story. Probably you guys have already heard this story before, but I remember this kid. This kid said, he's like, yeah, I'm a good racist. I'm a racist, man. I run in races. I'm like,
Wrong.
dang, man. I know. I
I'm a
know.
good. I'm a good racist. Wow.
I
Really.
was like, dang, kid. All right, cool. So,
Wow.
welcome everybody. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is our Wednesday show that we do most of the time.
That's right. Almost every Wednesday.
Almost every
If
Wednesday.
you
We used to do
if
it
you
every
count,
Wednesday, and then life gets in the way, and then it's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, and then we miss a week, or I miss a week, and then somebody misses 3 weeks, and somebody else misses 3 weeks, and then we miss some weeks, and then we're
If you
here. But
count the
we're actually
last,
here now,
that's right. If you count
me
the
and
last
Ryan.
8 years, you could say that we do it pretty much every day.
Eight
Or
years?
every week. I don't know if it's been 8. It's been more than 6.
What year did we start? We started in 18, May of 2018, so 7 years.
Wow. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, the show had been going on for a while because
Mhm.
you
I had
you did
started,
it with the Beta Cat, and yeah,
yeah,
and then
for 2 years, I think, before that.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
This side of the Mississippi, and it doesn't matter
That's
which
right.
side you're on, because both sides of the Mississippi, it is the best Wednesday show. And it's
Yeah.
not because of us, it's because
You mean all four sides?
we have such an awesome chat. That's the reason,
Hmm.
you know?
That's right.
Uh-huh. And yes, Tomato, the best Thursday show. I know it's Thursday for you, and I'm happy for you on your Thursday. See that? This is my smile.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've been doing Don't Worry Wednesday on Thursday for the last like 2 years,
You
and
have.
right now I'm in America, and it's really great to finally be here. And it's so weird to do a Don't Worry Wednesday on a Wednesday. Really weird.
Yeah. In the evening, where it's not in the
In the
morning.
evening.
Yeah.
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 Like for me, it's all just always been the same because I'm just here,
Yeah.
That's where I am.
I mean, you haven't even
I don't
left
know. I'm
Michigan
gonna.
other than to go to Cedar Point.
That's right. I mean, I'm planning a trip. I want to go to Germany, and
Oh, really?
and maybe it would be really kind of cool to do it on location. Don't Worry Wednesday in Germany. Except it's funny because you talk to all of our German friends that sometimes can get here because it's like it starts at
Yeah.
stinking 4 in the morning there.
That's really
This is
bad.
like a such an off time, like
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yep. But 10 a.m. from back in Australia. And oh, you think you're on the opposite side of the Mississippi, huh? Well, we are on the east side of the Mississippi. So
Does
you
Mississippi
can
go running?
confirm or deny or keep it secret. That's totally up to you. I appreciate you either way.
The
Ah,
Mississippi
it's
runs
official.
diagonally, right?
In some places, depends on where you're at
So
and what
I've
day it
always
is.
I've always thought that the division was between north and south, not between east and west.
Well, it mostly runs north and south.
Yeah. Okay. It
Because it's
mostly
up in
runs
it's
north
like
and
it
south.
goes through like up north,
Mhm.
and we crossed it when we went to St. Louis in Missouri,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah, yeah,
goes all the
yeah.
way down to Louisiana and goes out there.
Oh, okay.
And
So
it
you
does go
divided
every
east and
direction.
west.
You're right. It go Lilith. You're
Yeah.
right. Mississippi goes every direction because
Yeah.
it meanders. Right. It goes all over the
Yeah, it
place.
does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this side of the Mississippi is all sides of the Mississippi because it goes every direction.
Light is on the north side of the Mississippi. Oh boy.
Mm. Hot light.
We're probably on the north side too. We're like on the
Yeah.
northeast. You're on the far northwest side,
Oh, like Oregon type,
or
Washington
like
type
the
area,
Pacific Ocean,
Alaska, or maybe
or Caucasia.
Japan. This is very west. Or
Very
maybe
west of the
North
Mississippi.
Pole. It's very north.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Alaska north. A bit south. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Southern Alaska. Fine.
South Canada.
South
Are
Canada.
they
Wait, that's us.
South?
You can be on any side of the Mississippi if you go far enough. You're absolutely right, Tomato.
That's right.
That's how it
Mhm.
works. Because if you just go far enough in that direction, I mean, I'm west of the Mississippi. You just have to go
Yeah.
a long way west to get there.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, what if you're on the moon? Didn't Gru steal the moon?
Bruce?
Gru.
Oh.
In Despicable Me. He stole the moon.
Oh. Sorry, our bishop's last name is Bruce.
I know.
And every time I hear it, I think
stole
about
the moon.
I know, I was like, our bishop stole the moon. That's pretty awesome. I wonder how he did it. Every time I hear it, all I think of is hold on.
Huh?
Don't bring me down. No, 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 no. Woo. Okay, so in
What?
that song, hold on, I'm getting there.
Wait, like
Okay,
I'm
don't bring me
confused.
down, Bruce. Don't bring me down, Bruce. You know that
Really?
one?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
know
in
the
the song.
song, but I didn't know Bruce was in it.
It's Bruce. Everyone
Bruce.
thinks it's Bruce, but it's
Oh,
not
but it's
Bruce.
Bruce.
It's Bruce. But the funny thing is, the people who wrote it started saying Bruce because everybody else was saying Bruce. They said they originally designed the words to be Groose because Groose was a made-up word that didn't mean anything, so no one had to feel bad about it. But it turns out that Groose is a last name.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it
it's kind of funny.
It's Gruss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Groose. Sorry, yes. Groose stole the moon.
My bishop's name is Boyer.
Boyer, is he
Like, yeah,
French?
Boyer. It's like he's
Boyer?
Boyer.
Boyer? It sounds French to me.
It does sound French, doesn't it? But his first name is Earl, so that's I don't know if that's a French name.
Earl Boyer.
Earl Boyer.
I like
Yeah.
it. Sounds nice. It's got a good ring to it.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good
We
guy.
got to listen to some French trying to come into America because we had to go into Canada first.
Oh,
And so, yeah,
you
they
went to
spoke a lot of French
Canada?
there. We were in Montreal.
Oh, yes, they speak French there for sure.
Mhm.
So,
Surprised at how much.
yes, Spy X Family, was that who did the song? Don't bring me down.
Yeah, no, I don't think they. I don't know. Did they?
The one in your town
No, they
starts with an
didn't.
F. Oh boy, it's an F word. Look out.
Uh-oh. You only see him at the pub when he's having a meal. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you're in Australia, so of course, yes, of course, the priest would be at the pub in Australia. That makes sense to me.
I don't know. You see him here too.
At the pub?
They go to the pub. Sure, why not?
Yeah, yeah, they go everywhere.
Yep.
But I was just thinking, Australia's really big on their pubs.
Oh, you guys are talking about anime.
Yeah. We,
Sorry.
my wife and I
That's,
watched Spy X Family, and it's actually really good. Pretty great. I don't really care for like the filler episodes, but other than that, the anime's pretty nice, and it's wholesome, which is nice because you don't get to see that very often in anime.
I gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of not quite so wholesome stuff going on in a lot of
Yeah, it's
animes,
definitely the majority.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, even kids could watch it.
I do enjoy seeing some of the intense bloodshed that happens in some anime. I kind of
Well, I like the I do like some of the what do you call that? Like psychological anime where they like push the buttons of humanity a little bit certain
Oh,
direction of wickedness and you're like, wow. You know, it makes you think.
uh-huh.
I think that's cool.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. But then I think too much. Apparently I'm an overthinker. Just ask anybody who
Hmm.
knows me. You probably know that about me,
Sure.
Ryan.
Yes. Yeah.
So is anybody here also an overthinker? Please tell me I'm not alone here.
I
Please.
think probably all of us have our episodes of being an overthinker. Yes, yes. Says
Thank you.
okay.
Thank
I'll let
you.
them
Oh,
pumpkins.
I love you guys. My people.
See, I don't think I'm an overthinker because when I think, it makes me happy that I'm thinking.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude, we have the exact opposite experience of this.
I know. It's great.
Like I think
I'm
and I
like, I
wig
love
myself
thinking.
out like all the time. Like
Mm.
I like all of a sudden like all these scenarios just like go through my head and it's like, and I'm like, and your brother tells me all the time. He's like, you're overthinking it. I'm like, dude, I'm
Uh,
trying to make it perfect. He's like, you're overthinking it. It doesn't have to be that perfect. And I'm like, well, this other thing had to be that perfect.
oh yeah, true, true. How do you draw the line? Where's the line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. He's like, well,
No, no, you're overthinking it.
you
Don't worry about
measure
the
it,
line.
and you take a pencil and you draw it. Like that's how you
Yeah,
draw the line. Exactly, Neon Sight.
that's right.
Non-important decisions are really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
because it's like it doesn't matter.
Same
It's
for
like
me.
where do you want to go eat, and nobody cares because everybody's just hungry and just like whatever. I'll
Yeah.
eat whatever. And then somebody's got to decide, and then you start getting frustrated because nobody cares and nobody
Well,
decides, right?
you know what happens to us is we're like, yeah, we're hungry, let's go eat somewhere, and then it's like, well, where do we want to eat? I don't know. So we start going online and looking at food, and like none of it looks good,
Mm-hmm.
or like seems like something we want, and then we spend like 2 hours trying to figure out where to eat instead of just eating.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
we could like so much time.
I know it's
And
crazy.
we're not even at the restaurant yet. It's like we're still at home trying to decide. At this point, just want
It's
to
like,
eat
man,
like candy for
we could have
dinner.
gotten a pizza twice
Yeah,
and had it delivered.
so bad. Yeah, we've done that multiple times. Even in Japan, we did that quite a bit. We learned our lesson
Yes,
not to do that.
gaming with Nath. At one point, food becomes food. It just is like whatever, and
Yes.
you're just like,
Yep.
hey, I'll just eat food. I agree, August. Sushi is the safest bet for some people.
Hmm. It's not the safest bet if you live in like a desert.
Right, because it
Because the
has
fish
to
are
get
probably not
shipped
that
in.
safe.
Well, they might.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just
Fish
like,
are not safe in the desert. Well, no kidding. There's no
mm.
water, so a fish is not going to be safe there. They're going to die of not of
Yeah, and the fish that
anti-drowning
you
or
get
whatever.
might be old.
What's that?
And the fish that you get might be a little old if it is
Well,
sushi.
but they raise those fish in, like there are fish farms.
Oh yeah,
I knew a guy
right.
who had one of those actually. Had a fish farm
You, wow.
in Michigan, even like in Baldwin, where like
Mhm.
Baldwin is like maybe like the poorest area in Michigan. And I met this
Really?
guy there, and I talked to him, and we became really good friends. He's an awesome guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a fish farm," you know. And yes, he ate his own fish, and he showed me it. It was all these big, huge 55-gallon barrels, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're all in there, swimming around, whatever, blah 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 blah, and fish farm.
Wow. Amazing.
It was wild. So you can do that in the desert, and
That
then you could
sounds
have
like you could.
fresh sushi.
You just need water, yeah.
Yep,
In the desert.
water in the desert.
Maybe you get sand sharks. Sand sharks sushi.
Yeah.
People will eat it and be like, why
Fish
is this so
fish
gritty, like
farm.
sand in it?
Nom 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 fish farm. Mm.
Yeah, did he eat his own fish? Yeah,
Yes,
that's a good
he
question.
ate his own fish. He didn't
Okay.
not in front of me, but he told me that he ate them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know. It's
Nice.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I
That
met
is
this
cool. That's
guy.
actually a really
this guy
smart way to make money.
this guy was so awesome. I met him because it was like 12:30 at night, and he helped push my car out of the snowdrift.
Wow.
And I was like wearing a suit and a tie, and I had my dress shoes on and everything. And there's like 2 feet of snow, and like I slipped and went way off into
Wow.
the ditch into a snowdrift and everything. And like so, I'm like trying to push my car out wearing a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude comes up, and he was so awesome, man. He was just, hey, let me help you. I'm like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
yeah, and then
People
we
are
became
amazing, aren't
friends.
they?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I love when people do things like that. That's so kind.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So scorpion is pretty good. I've always wondered because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've known that people eat it. It's like dryland lobster kind of like or
Wow, what a weird way to
crawfish,
look at it. Yeah.
'cause
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to me that science has decided that like scorpions and like lobsters are not related. I mean, I understand one lives in the water, but like crabs, they all got these hard shells.
Uh-huh.
They all have a lot of legs. They all have like some of them have like pincers and fangs and whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh yeah.
how do you know, man?
I
How
don't
do you
know.
know?
They're arachnids. Yes, they're like spiders.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
They do have an extra appendage though with a stinger on it.
They do. We got to see the cutest little scorpion, and I know that sounds weird because why would that
What the
exist?
cutest little, you're so
We were,
such a cute little
we,
scorpion.
yeah,
Like,
we went to our bathroom in Australia, and the only time of my life I've ever seen a scorpion, only time in my wife's life we ever seen a scorpion, it was just chilling on the floor. We're like, how did you get here? And it was a baby scorpion, like how old is it? Like this little, tiny,
yeah.
just a little guy, and he's a cute little thing. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go outside, and I was like shuffling him in. He never raised his stinger once. He was just like super tame and being like, okay, yeah, I'll go in your bucket. And he got into the bucket, and then took him outside and put him outside. He was great though, very cute. And I would never thought I would say cute scorpion, but
Yeah.
it's just because he was so small and docile and just looked great, very kind scorpion. He helped me a lot.
He helped
Take
you.
care of my car, my dishes. No, I'm
Really?
kidding.
Really?
No,
Wow. He
no,
cleaned your house.
no, he really actually dirtied one dish. That's
He
that's the
dirtied a
truth.
dish.
Yeah, and then I cleaned up after it. Yeah,
Oh, you cleaned up after the scorpion.
yeah. I guess I don't. That doesn't
I
make him
see.
sound
So
very
you were really nice to the scorpion.
good. Yeah, that's
You
probably
cleaned
true.
up after this.
I
Yes.
I'm projecting. I'm projecting my kindness onto him, and I realized that I shouldn't project.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, Otlight, you are right. Whales are more related to humans than to fish because they're mammals, right?
Mm, that's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's right.
Dolphins as well.
You ask the spiders for rent, like because
I
they live rent free
yes,
in your house,
they do. Mm-hmm.
but they eat the bugs
They
sometimes.
do,
They eat some
and
of the
they clean
bugs.
up. They clean up your house. A lot of people don't realize spiders eat dust. That's their main diet, is dust.
Really?
That's why they're living. Yeah, I mean, think about this. They shoot web,
Yeah.
and web is made out of um, dust. Yeah.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, spiders' diet mostly consists of dust.
Is this proven science?
Yeah. In your house, at least, they mostly eat dust. I don't know about spiders in the like that live on plants and stuff,
I'm a
but
little
house spiders
skeptical.
generally eat dust.
I'm a little
Yeah,
skeptical about that.
yeah. You can be skeptical,
Wow.
but you can look it up later.
Ryan, you are a very, very trustworthy individual. So I don't
Thanks.
believe that you believe you're lying, even if you're telling something that's not true.
Yeah. No, you can look it up.
All right.
If you want, you can look it up later.
I will.
Spiders
I'll look
eat
it up later.
lots of dust.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, dang. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. I love
Yeah.
being here
Thanks
with
for
you
saying
guys.
this.
We got some people that I haven't seen
Let's
in a
do it. Don't worry
while, and
Wednesday.
maybe it's just because that I haven't been here in a while, so I haven't seen you guys. So, like I feel like I'm so out of touch. But part of it is I work so hard.
You do.
I'm always at stupid work.
You really do.
Well, it's not stupid. It's but I'm just always
It's
there.
smart. It's good.
It's smart. Work isn't stupid. It's smart. I mean, it
That's
can
right.
be. Like, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's
Cool.
do Don't Worry Wednesday. So, hey, welcome, guys, and this is the show where we talk about any issues that you guys have. If you're having some kind of an issue you'd like us to talk about, or if you just have something in general you'd like us to talk about, you can put it in the chat. You can go to our website, don'tworrywednesday.com, click the Submit a Topic button, and put your topic in there, and we'll get it. Make sure you say that you are a human. And Tomato, you are absolutely right. We are not licensed therapists at all. We're not licensed therapists. We're not counselors. We're not psychiatrists or psychologists or anything like that. And what's the other part of the legal disclaimer? Legalese. This show is for entertainment purposes only, and you probably shouldn't take our advice, and it's probably just going to be silly, and so maybe just don't pay attention. That's what
Wow.
all the experts want us to say, right? But here's the thing.
Cool.
Like, I've learned that sometimes the best thing you can find is a friend. Sometimes the best thing you can find is somebody with an outside perspective, or somebody who just cares. And that's what we do here. We care about you
Hmm.
guys. We love you guys, and we want to help in any way we possibly can. And many times we've referred people to therapy, and just, well, not given a referral, but we've told people, hey, it would be good for you to find a therapist. So, because sometimes things are really
Hmm.
complicated and you need some help. I've been
Yeah.
there before, multiple
Jason, don't
times
back.
throughout my life, where I've needed help. Um,
Hmm.
yes, Lilith, therapy is good. And it's also like you kind of need to you kind of sometimes you have to shop around a little bit for a therapist um to find a good one. But yeah, I've had good experiences with my therapist, and they've been very, very helpful for me. Um, so you'll be getting a therapist soon, Lilith. Hey, good. If when you need
Hmm.
one, they are there, and they can be very, very helpful, and they can point out some stuff that you didn't even know. And
Hmm.
are we licensed friends? I don't know.
Licensed
Ryan, do
friends.
you have a license to be my friend?
No. Does a license negate the friendship? Like, if you have to get a license to be a friend, does that kind of like it feels wrong. It
Really?
feels wrong.
Wait, you're the
Doesn't feel
friend
free.
police? Tomato is the friend police. Show me your
Uh-oh.
friend license. Are you guys supposed to be friends? You have a license
Uh-oh.
to be friends with each other? Yeah, I know,
Wow.
right?
This feels like classism, like in an
Whoa, it's
extreme
totally.
high.
It is. It's crazy, man. We're not like that here. We're just your friend. We just,
Hmm.
and if it's in it, I don't care if it's wrong or right. Because if being your friend is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
That's right.
That's right.
Hmm.
Friend, please. So
Yeah.
anyway, yep. So if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, again, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, put it in the chat. We'd be happy to talk about it. We love you guys, and
Yeah.
we want to do anything we can to help. We do have a topic here. And Nyansai is here, but in the chat, and
But is Hero here? Yes, of course Hero's here,
Hero
obviously.
is here. I
Hero's
see
been
Hero
here.
here. Is a topic from Hero, called balancing activities, and so, hey, Nyansai again is here.
Great.
Hey, welcome. Make me brownies, and I'm kidding.
Pleasant.
Pleasant,
Cute.
and with the dab. Oh, speaking
Aw.
my
Yeah.
language. Hey, you know
It's just
what?
favorite.
I'm gonna be in your town tomorrow.
Whose town?
Yours.
Oh, I thought you meant Heroes.
No.
Sorry.
Yours and Neon Size. I'm gonna be in your guys' town
Okay.
tomorrow.
Great. Well, maybe there's a chance we'll see you.
If I come over, I get brownies. I mean, we're gonna be like we're gonna be probably how far is that house from you? 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
It's about 7.
seven
That's my
minutes. I
guess.
was right in between. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 to 6. Or sorry, 5 to 7. Might be 6.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna
Yeah.
be real close.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be
That's real
close.
close.
Yep. And then, well, and we're gonna have to come to your house, at some point because we're gonna have to put your countertop in and all that.
Yeah.
You know. If you'll
We'll get there
notice,
when we get there.
if you
Oh gosh.
see that white trim behind Static P there, behind Ryan,
Oh yeah.
I did that.
Joe put that together. Yeah. Obviously, the lighting is not great enough, nor the zoom, for you to see it in great detail, but it's beautiful. Joe did an amazing job
Thank you.
around the whole
I
house.
I paid a lot of I took great care in doing your guys' house because
Yeah.
I wanted you to have a nice place to live. Um, yep. Yes, that's right, August.
Thank you,
I can
Joe.
show up at your
Thank you,
door
Joe.
if you put your door in front of my door, and then I'll be at your door.
Wow.
Hero,
Incredible.
I don't know where you live. So
Shipping a door in the mail.
so if I show up at your house, it's sheer luck, man.
Yeah, that's impressive luck.
Yes. Um. Yeah,
Yeah.
we made that from raw lumber. Like we didn't buy the trim, we bought boards
Hmm.
and
It's amazing.
we
You guys did
made
really
it.
good.
It was kind of cool. Like it was fun to do. But anyway, all right. So, yes, we did. We There's a lot of sweat that I left on your floor. There's blood that I left on your floor.
Uh,
I
Delicious.
bled all over your floor.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Help the floor, give
Yeah.
it some protein or whatever.
Yes. Do you guys have a bathroom door now though?
No, well, it doesn't close.
Okay.
It's
There's a
it's
door
on
on
there, but
there.
it doesn't
All
close.
right. All right.
Yeah,
I was
it doesn't close because
because the whole time I was there was no door on the bathroom. So it's like,
uh-huh. Well, the basically kind of still isn't. I mean, you can close it. It doesn't get all the way closed. There's like a 2 inch or 3 inch gap when you try to close it because the paint is a little too thick, I guess. Even
yeah.
if it's just like a millimeter.
Yeah, we're gonna
So
get
you
your
have to do
we'll
something.
we'll get your door figured out. It'll be good.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it's all
until
good.
then, there's no privacy in the bathroom.
Yep. Careful. Careful. Come over. You
Yeah.
might experience something you wish you hadn't.
Oh boy, look out! Look out below! Here comes Joe. Oh boy. All right. Okay, let's do this topic from Hero. What do you say? So
Yes.
we'll do this, and Neonsai was saying she can contribute in the chat, and we can
Hmm.
talk about this stuff. We'd love to. So Hero, we're gonna do your topic, and
Hmm.
that's that.
Just as a quick aside, if you guys have any topics, anybody else, or even Hero yourself, we'd love to have them. We don't have any other topics after this one right now.
Correct. So we're gonna do this one, and it's gonna be
Hmm.
great. We're gonna do.
Here we are.
Ryan's part is gonna be great. My part is gonna be pretty
I don't
good.
know. Find out.
Neonsai's part is gonna be excellent,
Yeah, of
as
course.
always, because that's just how it. Right.
That's how she rolls.
How she rolls, man. All right, cool. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. You guys can read along while I read it aloud. And so this is called Balancing Activities, and it comes from Hero. And here it is. It says, a follow-up question for Static and Neon if they are both present. How do you balance having a lot of things you want to do with having a lot of things you need to do and fighting the paralysis that can come from both? And I gotta say, man, that is an excellent question. Like, because this is something that I've dealt with
Mm.
for a long time. That whole paralysis of, like I've got too many things to think about doing. I've got, so much to be concerned with, and it's hard because you just kind of get stopped. I experienced this. I experienced it this morning actually from when I showed up at work. I showed up at our cabinet shop, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, there's so many things to do here, and there's a lot of things I'd like to do, and there are things that need to be done. And so what do I do? And so like I used my self-discipline, and I moved the really heavy lumber that was in the way up into the attic. And it was a lot of work, and it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um yes. Beyonce says, first of all, there's nothing you need to do. You don't need to go to the dentist or pay rent or go to work. All of these are choices that you make. Of course, there are consequences, but that just applies to everything in life. You're absolutely right. So, I don't know. I feel like there comes a point when, like going to the bathroom becomes more than just a choice.
There are weird medical documents of people holding it and dying, which is weird.
Yeah, so I guess it is a choice. You can,
I don't know.
that.
I don't know.
Lilith
Yeah,
needs the string cheese.
they're true.
I need the squeeze
String
cheese.
string cheese might be the exception.
Yeah. I mean, if you hold it and poop your pants, it's just a consequence.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh my. Yeah, but you're right. There are, everything that we do, there's a choice involved. And that is definitely something to be taken into consideration. It's just that sometimes our choices can have pretty extreme consequences. Like if you decide to do something that's illegal, you may be subject to the consequence of the law of your land that you live in, right? And so, um, that's a consequence you'll have to deal with. You can choose to do the thing you want to do, which maybe it's play some video games or watch a movie or do whatever, and neglect things that need to be done, right? And that's a choice. And then the stuff you need to do can pile up on you, and then you get stressed out and overwhelmed. Here's one thing that I've learned. If I do the things I know that are important to be done, which would be the things I need to do, I need to do certain things in order to get results that I want in my life. Those are actually quite rewarding, even though most of the time it's something I don't really feel like doing. Like I don't really feel like doing these things a lot of the time, but I go and I do them, and then I feel better about myself. I feel better about, where my life is heading a lot of times when I do those things that I need to do. I need to go to the doctor. And if you ask like anybody that knows me well, they will tell you the same thing. Yeah, Joe needs to go to the doctor. He hasn't been to the doctor in 7 years, right? At least, maybe longer. But that's the last time I can remember. It's because I broke my toe. And so like I had to go to the doctor because it was hurting really bad, and I didn't know it was broken, and I was walking on it for a few days, and then I finally went, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like broken, spiral fracture, all this kind of stuff. Like, here, you need this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, that helps. But I just avoid making an appointment. And I still, I'm like, I'm gonna go, and I still haven't made the appointment. So now that I've said it to all of you, now I've kind of, now I gotta go to.
Wedged yourself in a little spot there.
Yeah, now I'm gonna have people Discord messaging me. Did you make your doctor's appointment yet? I'll be like, and I'll be like, maybe. But yeah. Oh, I like this. Okay, so Nyansai, you got all this good stuff going in the chat. You need to learn how to handle the consequences of not doing things more than taking on the stress of the idea of the things that need to get done. If I don't do X, this will be the consequence. How would I handle that? That's a very good question to ask yourself. For motivation, I don't want to do this. How can I turn this into something I want to do? How can I make this align with my goals or values? That's very good. Or how can I make doing this easier? Those are very good questions to ask yourself, and they kind of
Hmm.
clear things up a little bit for you. Rather than thinking I need to do X and getting stuck with just that, try to ask yourself actionable questions, like how. Like that's a great way to look at it. Like, how can I make this easier? How can I do this and do it well? Um, hey, say, how's it going? Welcome, welcome to
Hmm.
the show. So I'm going to turn this over to Ryan and let him talk about it. So it's going to be really good. I'm telling you
Well,
right now, because look at that guy. Look at him. Look at him. You know it's going to be
I with a
good.
look like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Hero, I've got a couple of questions. It's been a while since we talked about this. Do you remember last time we talked about this and why we're doing a follow-up question? Um, I think it has something to do with, I said something like at the time that perchance that my wife and I were currently kind of going through this and exploring um, things and figuring out how to handle this sort of thing ourselves. If I'm if I remember correctly, that might have been what kind of prompted this. But I guess since last time, Hero, also, what kind of things have you done? I guess in your life, have you made any changes? Have you found any improvements? And if you have, what are they? Um, if it's not too much for me to ask that while you're listening, I hope that that's um, useful. Because it would be really useful for me to kind of get back into the zone of what we were talking about before. Um, yeah. Nyansai continues to say, it's a difficult choice between two things. Pretend you've already done one of them and think, did me choosing this option change things in a good way? Did it matter? That's a really interesting way to come at it, yeah. I always imagine the aftermath of completing something to figure out if it's worth the effort. Yeah, that's a great way to think about things and do things. Yeah, for sure. Um, so I don't necessarily want to repeat myself too much. I remember we talked quite lengthfully.
Think.
We talked in quite length about this last time. Um, so I'm just gonna quickly read the question again and then jump right in. Do my best here.
Okay.
He said, how do you balance having a lot of things you want to do with having a lot of things you need to do and fighting the paralysis that can come from both? And yeah, I mean, obviously that's hard. If you've got a lot of things you need to do, or as in things like obligations, you have a lot of obligations, and then you have things you want to do, say things that are like projects or things that to some degree you're obligated to yourself, but not in a way that there are consequences if you don't. Um, I guess there are always consequences, though. The consequences you don't do the thing that you wanted to do, I suppose. I think one of the best things to do in this is, for me, is probably something I can recommend to you, Hero, because you're a fellow Catholic. That is to sort of go down the avenue of looking at the picture from God's view. And I know that can be kind of hard because we don't know necessarily God's view on everything. But what we can do is figure out which one actually tends to God's will, as opposed to just keeps us, I guess, in check or in line with standards or so on. Right? I mean, it's good to do a job, and working is dignified.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a job where it doesn't matter what you're doing, like, just, I don't know, stuffing tacos, your retail management, your, I don't know, cabinet builder, doesn't matter. All these things are good. And they're inherently good because you're doing a service and they are dignified in the fact that you are working at something. But there are also things that you get to do in your life with your life that probably no one else is going to replace because they're in your head. And those things, and that could be something like streaming. Here, I know you've recently taken up streaming, which is awesome. You're sharing yourself with the world, and yourself is your greatest commodity. It is your greatest resource. Because obviously without yourself, you can do nothing, right? But it's also, you have a particular, you are the niche that you fulfill, and no one else will ever fulfill that. And you're really special in that. So it's awesome that you're sharing yourself with the world in the way that you speak, your attitude towards things, and your viewpoints, the way you inspire others, just hanging out with others, being a friend. You have so many chances to be good, right? And so when I put those things in context and I start thinking about, well, what things can I do to, I think, make more saints in the world, for example, is a way that my wife put it. That's a really good goal to attempt to help others become saints, and that's basically making it easier for them to do so, because it's always a choice, and people always have the choice, and you're not necessarily going to always affect someone, or your actions aren't always going to just breed a saint. But you can do things in life that help make that route easier. For example, by being a good influence, obviously, being healthy to be around and so on, so that when they're around you, it's easier to be good for them. Other things, you could set seeds in with little bits of wisdom and so on and so forth. And it can be, at times, just the place that you work at, in the communication you have with the people that work, or even customers, or even just providing the good and service that you do. Maybe that taco helped lead them to God, but it's a little bit less likely. So weighing those options for me is always helpful, because I can see it's a lot easier to look at that from it's a lot easier to look at life from that perspective, because it's a lot more narrow, it seems, and by narrowing that down through the lens of God, you kind of put yourself in a position where you have discernment, instead of just sitting there going like, well, what do I want? Like, what do I want out of life? Or what kind of things can I do? What kind of talents do I have? It's like, where should I put myself? If you start viewing yourself in your life through that will of God, through the lens of the will of God, it really helps narrow things down and helps you kind of figure out, like, I've got choices to make, and I've got obligations, of course, and doing those are good, but there are also things that I need to do for God. And I don't know, I find that path is probably the best one, because you aren't just relying on what suits you, you're relying on more of an objective, what's the best thing here? What has the highest potential for the best outcome? What's me acting out as a holy person in this world look like? I think that really helps. And fighting the paralysis, that helps, for me at least. That's one thing. Another thing is just being excited to do it. And sometimes being excited to do it is just an act of mind over matter.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to decide that you're going to be excited to do it, and you get yourself ramped up through different mental exercises. And you could, I think nearly everybody can do that. Maybe not everybody, but I think a lot of people can do that. Really just pump yourself up. That can be done through imagination. That could be done through self-talk. That could be done through activity. Sometimes just doing it gets you pumped up to do it, So you have those options available to you. And I think we talked a lot about that before, but I won't go too far into it. Nyansai adds more here, but I'm going to quickly get to what Hiro's reply to me was, and that is, he said, "Oh, not at all. I do think I'm in a bit of a better place with it now than I was when I first asked. Sorry about that. It's been a lot better to pace myself with the many project ideas I have, and temper my expectations with what I can get done in an allotted amount of time. I know we talked a lot about problem solving and needing a problem to solve to find motivation. Aha, yes, I remember that's kind of the road we drove down, and that was kind of the road that I figured we might want to expand on because you had sort of vibed with that and wanted to know more about that, and that was something I was like, yeah, I think it'd be good to ask my wife about that. You continued on to say, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is sharing progress with others, which I know we've talked about before, has done a lot of good too. I've especially been doing a lot more of that. Yeah, that's right. I do remember we talked about the idea of it helps to um, motivate yourself out of that paralysis by talking with others and getting that feedback and them being excited about what you have to share with them next time you come and show them, or just showing them little tiny pieces. And even it kind of almost doesn't even matter to some degree how they react. You kind of just feel like, yeah, and you start getting something out of that experience, that relationship. Even again, if they don't respond well to it or significantly to it, it helps fuel that feeling of like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. It's for sharing with other people, or it just kind of fuels you. We are social creatures, so it's natural that we would find motivation through that communication, through that desire to share this idea or this project or the outcome of it, or even just the steps with someone else as we're going through it. It can really motivate us and fuel us. Yeah. So, and then the other thing that we had talked about was the getting in, finding the motivation to do things when you're in paralysis because your mind can't think about how to do it. And we talked about how there's this sort of loop. Like our minds are trained to be in a loop. So if you're like, if I'm working on a song, I might have an idea and I start writing, but once I've got something down, I can listen to it. And while I listen to it, things can come into my head. But it's not just that. Like I've written songs over and over and over, so I've got processes I can go through. And when I get stuck at a certain place, I know, oh, I've been stuck here before, and I can go to that loop. There's always a problem to solve. Because I'm writing a song, there's always something like, it's not done yet. What's missing? Oh, it's obviously this. And so you know your next objective. You have this tight loop of writing music. In coding, it's the same thing. In anything, it's the same thing, right? But sometimes finding that loop is incredibly difficult if you've never done the task before. Like if you're like writing a story, that could be really daunting and hard because you're like, I don't even know where to begin. I was told to write a story, but I don't have anything in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start writing a story and you've got a couple of words down, maybe you got a paragraph, and then you stop and you're like, I don't know where to go from here. Because you don't have the loop, you don't feel the loop. And sometimes there are things that just don't really have loops. And it's not like you can just insert yourself and be cycling through concepts. And so you kind of have to learn how to be creative in a new way. And I think that's really difficult to be creative in a new way, like to be creative in a way that you've not been creative before. That's like extra creative. And that's really hard. And one of the ways to solve that is to remember that you can solve problems, or that you can talk yourself through things. So like an example of that is like if you're trying to build a world from scratch, that was the example that we used last time, because that was something I was doing. To ask yourself about a character and what are they doing? They wake up in the morning. What's their first thing that they do? Okay, well, what were they laying on? What does this world look like? Ask those little questions. Okay, they get up and what are they standing on? Now start there. So now you've got a character you're drawing the life through, and you're inventing the bed, the floor, the room, the doorway. What's that look like? Etc. And then what's their first activity? Do they brush their teeth in this world, right? Etc. You find ways to, like, if you're ever stuck in this paralysis of like you can't seem to really find the flow, you can't seem to find the loop of problem solving, it's just that you need to attack it from a completely new direction you've never tried before, and that could be, um, and you know that could be so many different things. But we went into that pretty deeply, and we ended up. You had some questions about that, and so I was like, I think it'd be better if because my wife could probably explain it better because she's kind of the one that had the realization. But anyhow, um, yeah, I think that getting yourself into a loop, a problem-solving loop, where you have clear problems and you solve them meticulously, you know, and you just go through, like, you just until the fullness of the project is done, you're just problem solving, problem solving, problem solving, problem solving, because that's generally what you're doing. And um, if you can find that, I mean, it's really effective. But sometimes finding that is really hard when you've never been there before, or you're or even if you have been there before, but then all of a sudden something hits you that you just completely new, never seen it before, don't know how to problem solve that, and you're like, I don't even know what direction to come at this from. That can be really paralyzing because it's overwhelming. Like if I think about how do I create a whole world, there's so many stinking things in a world. It's paralyzing. It's overwhelming, right? It's absolutely overwhelming. And of course it is. I mean, there are an overwhelming amount of things in our world that I don't understand. And some that I do. And even if I tried to explain everything I do understand, it's overwhelming. So like trying to create a world is like from scratch, that's completely built from completely different beginnings and so on and so forth. That's overwhelming. And so sometimes you're going to get overwhelmed. And I think when you're overwhelmed, it's good to try to find little pieces to solve one at a time. And that's the loop, right? But anyhow, yeah, I think, Nyansa has been saying a lot, and I don't want to talk over her because she has a lot of good things to say. But I'm going to read what you've said. You said, let's see. You said, yeah, I resonate with a lot of what y'all are saying, especially with just making a choice being the most efficient thing I can do, regardless of how it turns out. Yeah. Also, yeah, I would for sure like more insight on the problem solving. I'll try to look back on the stream to see exactly what I was wondering. Yeah, that'd be really helpful. Also, yeah, August, I don't know how you're going to do that while we're talking. I mean, you've got like 2 years, I guess. Good luck. And 2 eyes, that's right. You got 2 eyes and 2 ears. Said also, yeah, August, I get that. Okay, I'll disregard that because I didn't read that comment from August yet. Hold on. Share my progress, but I think it's hard to find people. Oh, yeah, right. It's hard to find someone who's interested in yeah, so on. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah, you said, yeah, I think the best way to have gotten into that loop, I realize for me, is to do a project that is only slightly above my current comfortability. Yeah, okay. With what I can currently do. That makes a ton of sense to me, Hero. Yeah, because when you're paralyzed, if you can break it down into something that you already know how to do, you're no longer paralyzed. If you can just take it one step further and be like, okay, this is what I know how to do, but just a little bit more, that's way easier than being paralyzed over like the grand, huge scheme of of multiple different things you're trying to do at once. As you said, you have things you want to do, and there are things you need to do or are obligated to do. And so you're trying to juggle that at the same time as both of them paralyzing you with being overwhelmed. And so, yeah, it's nice. I think that's really great that you've made progress there, and that makes sense. That's smart. Yeah. But for now, I think I'm gonna halt my end of this and give it over to Joe for a while and see what Joe has to say.
You want to see what I had to say? Well, first of all,
Yeah.
I'm gonna read out loud a bunch of Neon Size stuff because there's some
Yes,
good
please.
stuff in
I
the
was hoping
chat
you
here.
would.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's good stuff here, and it's helping me out too with some of my with my issues. So thank you, Neon Sai.
Great.
So let's see. Let's go back up a little bit. We talked about somebody mentioned something about double negatives. And I think it was,
yeah.
and I think it was like, like it's a negative thought, whether it's buying food or paying rent, something like that. And I've been in those situations before where it's like, which one do I do, And the thing about food is, you can probably go longer than you think without a lot of food, as long as you got to maintain some things, like, you got to maintain micronutrients like vitamins and stuff like that. But, you know, most of us have, you know, adequate fat stores to live for a little while without eating anything, right? Now, that doesn't mean go and be malnourished, because also with your rent, you can generally go talk to your landlord and negotiate and just say, hey, like, I'm going to be a little bit behind. This and that's happening. And so I will pay you. Is there anything, and you can a lot of times work something out with landlords. So there are things you can do. But okay, so I'm going to pick up here. Neonsai says, for bigger projects, I think, what do I want to accomplish within 10 years? And only pick less than 5 really important things that I want to do. Then prioritize those things, and everything else can have less of my focus. And that's a very important thing that you can do. If you have a lot of things that you want to do, you can, narrow it down to a few. Like, if I had to pick one, or if I had to pick 2 or something like that, which ones of these would I pick? Right? And so it comes down to asking yourself the questions. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do, because we can get stuck in the loop of fear. We can get stuck in the loop of, like that paralysis, or what was it, the frozen pile of poop or something like that. A loop of frozen poop. Yeah, stuck in a loop of frozen poop. And I understand that. I've been there before. Mm-hmm. But then the onsite says, with double negatives, it's extremely important to make the choice rather than letting both bad things happen because you freeze. I'm a professional at freezing. Like, that's how that's my, between fight, flight, and freeze, when my limbic system and my brain takes over, it's freeze. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, stop. And that's my natural response. And so, like, then nothing happens. And so then I have to start getting myself out of that. And if I'm panicking, I've learned to recognize, okay, yes, I'm panicking here. My limbic system is taken over. I'm in freeze mode. And so then I have to do things to get out of that. If you find yourself stuck in panic mode or frozen in, like you're in that fight, flight, or freeze response mode, and you're having trouble, one trick I learned, and this was very helpful for me, is that you do something with dancing is one thing that actually helps get you out of that. And part of that is because, like, it gets your mind back into logic and reason and all this kind of stuff. It kind of calms the limbic system. One thing you can do is do something with your left hand and then do something with your right hand. Like, if I'm snapping my fingers, and I do it 4 times, and then maybe 3, and I can just do this and, and go back and forth. And what happens then is that physical activity can bring you back into the real world. So you're no longer panicking. And that's been really helpful for me. You can hop on one leg and then hop on the other leg. But it's important to alternate, Another thing that you can do is count, and every few numbers, skip a number. Like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, And what happens then is it causes you to start thinking about it, and it kind of pulls you out of that panic mode. Breathing exercises can help too. But yeah. Then the answer says, sometimes the worst option has the best outcome. Discernment is very important and takes time to cultivate that skill. And sometimes that just takes experience, right? You experience enough things and you're like, okay, I've been through something similar to this before, so now I kind of can know what to expect as an outcome, and you can move forward. And one of the biggest problems that we face when we're doing this is we get overwhelmed, right? And then we freeze, like you're talking about, like Neonsai was talking about. But what's going on inside is we're fighting against the things that are happening, or something that's going on. We're kind of in conflict with it, right? We're in conflict with the situation that we can't decide. or that we can't move forward, or that we have too many things and we are overwhelmed and whatever, right? So then what I've found that helps is I can just take a step back. I can just kind of sit back and I can go, okay, these things are happening. I can't change that I'm in this situation. And I can bring myself, when I can say, I can't change this. When I learn to, to acknowledge, okay, here's where I am. I can't change it. I can't change where I'm at now. Now, okay, I accept where I'm at. And that's like a really, really big key step, is to accept that you're in this pickle or you're in this predicament or whatever, right? Okay, here I am. Now, because now I'm no longer fighting against it. It's just like, okay, here I am. Then I can think, okay, how do I make this better? Or how can I improve the situation that I'm in? We can start thinking about, how did I get here, blah, 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 blah. That can be helpful too. But it's dangerous sometimes, especially for me and other overthinkers like me, where it's like, if we start thinking about how did I get here, then I start thinking about all the things I did wrong, and then that makes me mad at myself, and then I have this, self, berating time where I'm just beating myself up, and that doesn't accomplish anything either, right? We have to say, okay, here I am. I can't change where I'm at. How can I improve this? What steps can I take to move out of this, or to move forward through this, right? And those are things that I've found to be very helpful for me. Man, the chat is like lighting up here. You guys are great. So let's see, what else did Neonsai say that was really good? There's a lot of good stuff in here, Neonsai. Thank you. My goodness. Okay, I feel like the world distracts you with many decisions and choices that can make you lose focus on your fate or your journey. You're right. The world is full of distractions and many decisions that aren't really relevant, or that aren't going to, either choice isn't going to take us to the ideal place we want to be. And so we have to learn kind of how to filter that. Neonsai says, when it comes to facing fears, just imagine having that fear forever. What your life would be like and how it would never change. Then imagine your life if you overcame that fear. It can really help. And I'll give you a little secret. To conquer fear, you have to do the thing you're afraid of. Like, if you do the thing you fear, the death of fear is certain. I remember hearing a guy say that. So, like, if you are afraid to do some kind of task, sometimes it's really weird. Like, you get afraid of doing the weirdest things, like making a phone call to order a pizza.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's me.
Yeah, right? I've done that before. I've had that happen. It's like, oh, I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to call, I was afraid to call the car repair place. It turns out rightfully so, because of what they told me about my car. Anyway, it's just a phone call. How often do you look and hit stuff on your phone and then talk into it? All the time, right? It's not that big a deal. And it's funny because we think we're supposed to know things to talk about, blah, 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 but it's the person's job on the other end of the phone to help you with that situation. When you're calling a pizza place, or you're calling, whatever. I know people who go to confession, they don't go to confession, Catholics who don't go to confession because they're kind of afraid. They haven't been there enough to know really what to do. And so they're kind of nervous about it. And I remember a guy telling me one time, dude, it's the priest's job to help you through that. You just say, look, I haven't been here in a while. I don't know really how this goes. Can you help me? And they will, right? That's the same in a lot of cases. Yes, and this is very important. Neonsai says, you realize how a small pain now can reap huge benefits in your life. And it's true. Because sometimes just all it takes is breaking through a little bit of pain, which isn't even really that severe. A lot of times the pain of thinking about the pain is worse than the actual pain itself.
Oh, yeah.
We build it up as this big monster in our heads, right? And so but then we get into it and it's really not as bad as we thought. Or sometimes it is as bad as we thought, and then we were prepared for it, I guess. But this is also good. Nansai says, also separate bad outcomes from bad decisions. Sometimes you make good decisions and get a bad outcome. That's just life, and the universe is out of your control. The worst thing you can do is permafreeze and choose to stop making decisions and second guess everything. Just keep going, because things will go wrong at some point, even with good decisions. And I am notoriously bad at blaming myself for every bad thing that happens, when it has nothing to do with me. It's the other guy, or it's just the world in general, right? But I'll still blame myself. I'll be like, oh, I did something wrong. I didn't say the right thing. I didn't do the right thing. I waited too long, or I didn't wait long enough, or whatever.
Classic.
It's right? Right?
Yep.
Now, it's important, this is Neonsai again, it's important to still be critical and learn lessons, of course, but be aware of what was in your control and what wasn't. Be aware of mistakes, too. Mistakes don't make the decision or choice you made a bad one, right?
True.
Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean that, what you decided to do was bad, right? From experience, it's better to mess up and be set back temporarily than to be stuck in a loop of frozen poop. I love that. I love the frozen poop loop. Yep. If there are small things you can guarantee are smart decisions to build trust with yourself, then it's great building blocks if you really struggle a lot. So Neonsai, you have nailed it in a lot of this. So I really appreciate you. And don't lie down and fall. Wait, the worst thing you can do is distract yourself when prompted with a tough decision. You need to go into a room alone with no technology or anything. If you really must, then just a pencil and paper. And don't lie down and fall asleep. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
The alone time will make you so bored you got to do something about it. That's a neat little life hack you can do on yourself, right? Make yourself bored. Yeah. Go make yourself bored, and it opens up possibilities. It's pretty great. So anyway, wow, hey, welcome, Jehoshaphat and Jeff. Welcome, you guys. It's great to see you. You guys are awesome. Humans being humans. Oh, right on. Hey, yep, go have supper with your family, man.
Enjoy.
Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, Neonsai. Wait, where is this? Where does this start? Okay. Though the best decision I made was the most painful thing I did. I thought I was going to die for like 6 months, but now I'm so happy and so glad I made that choice. Yeah, don't blame yourself for things that aren't your fault. Quickest way to lose trust in yourself. Yeah, I do that all the time. And so obviously I don't trust myself ever, right? I overthink. I don't trust myself. Like, how do I even deal with anything sometimes, right? It's crazy. But we're all a work in progress here, right? Except for Ryan. True. Ryan's pretty much perfect already. So.
Hey, perfection can still work. Still work in progress.
Yeah.
So it makes it perfect.
But anyway, so I don't know. Sometimes it just takes building the habit of getting into action. I want to encourage you to do that. And it sounds to me, Hero, like you're already kind of doing this. You know, you're cleaning some of this up in your head. You're moving forward. You're not overwhelmed as much, and you're kind of piecing things together, and that's great. But one of the things that I had to train myself to do, especially being an overthinker and a ruminator and all that, like all the things that come along with that, it's ridiculous, man. It slows me down all the time and it makes me upset. Mm-hmm. And then I have to sleep, which makes me even more mad because then I'm like, why do we even have sleep? Like, seriously, when I meet God, I'm going to be like, God, like, what the heck, man? Like, sleep? What's up with that? And some people are like, man, I love sleep. I'm like, dude, I could get so much more done if I didn't have to sleep. But then I'd probably find some excuse to not get it done anyway, right?
Yeah, you like go to God and you're stupid sleep, couldn't get anything done, blah blah blah. And he's like, let me show you a life without sleep. And he plays
Yeah.
it for you, you're like, wow, I did nothing.
Like you
What's
can
wrong with
still
me?
make an excuse, man.
He's like, yeah, yeah, that's what I've been asking. What's wrong with you, man?
Uh-huh.
Anyways.
Yep.
Well,
So really, I mean, I don't really ascribe to a lot of the things this person says, but there is a speaker, a personal development person named Mel Robbins, um, who had this 5 4 3 2 1 method, right? And
hmm,
it's what's funny? I don't I've learned I don't know if I've learned a lot. I've read a lot of personal development, like stuff in my lifetime. I've read a lot of this stuff, and I was well into that culture. There's so much wrong in that culture. Now, I'm not saying it's all bad. There's good information in there. But there's a lot of wrong in there too. There's a lot of, like I don't know. I got in there and you kind of feel like you're covered in slime.
hmm,
And it's just like there's all these like one-liners and nobody's taking into account real life things.
hmm,
Like if it's to me, it's up to me, and I need to have a positive attitude and blah 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 blah, blah. And yeah, there's good to be positive, right? But there is some nasty stuff that happens in the world, and there's nasty stuff that happens in our lives, and if we just disregard it and say, oh well, I can't be negative, then
hmm,
we lose the lessons and we don't grow. And sometimes even worse, like what I would do is just bury all the things. Like when I got overwhelmed and upset, I would bury it. Oh, and then like years later, you wake up and you're severely depressed and anxious because you've been burying anger for a long time when things make you upset. And you just bury it because you don't want to be negative, right? So, how dare
hmm,
you express a negative emotion when emotions come and go, man? They're part of our lives. And so if we don't acknowledge them and take care of them, then they manifest later with bigger, deeper problems that might require therapy, might require medication. Who knows? Right? So it's good to take a look at a problem and say, okay, this is a problem. Here I am. I'm with this problem. Now what can I do about it? And then comes this habit of becoming an activationist. I've heard it called in one of those books. Which is a person who takes action. And Mel Robbins has this great way of doing it. She's just like, I just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then without thinking about it, I start. Right? Because I counted down. I counted down to 1. I got to 0, whatever. And now I'm going. And that's like, if we can get into motion and get ourselves over that hump, we can break the paralysis of our mind. And then we're in it and we're started and we're going. And it's something that we were looking at and we didn't want to do for so long. We didn't want to do it because we were like, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. Right? I don't want to do this. Like, seriously, I had to move. I think I said earlier, I had to move a bunch of lumber from that was all in our way, all over the shop. And I had to like put it up in the attic and stack it all nice and neat and everything. Oh, and a bunch of the pieces were like screwed together. So every time I picked up one, I was actually picking up two. And so it was like twice as heavy. And I was like,
hmm,
I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do this. And then I remembered this and I was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. And I started. So I went over, I got the ladder, I moved it over there. And then I was in that mode of doing it. And it wasn't nearly as bad. And I got done. And I was like, oh, that wasn't bad. I'm a little sweaty now, but whatever. I was going to be sweaty anyway because it's so stinking hot out right now.
hmm.
Whether I'm doing something
Yeah.
or not, I'm going to be sweaty. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just think, whoa, I'm going to be so ripped after this. I'm so cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Um, oh, man. So, really, August. I just saw this. Sleep makes me feel productive. It's hard enough to get. So actually sleeping feels like a daily
Mhm,
accomplishment. Oh my gosh. You know what? That's a great way to look at it.
mm,
Because I have such trouble falling asleep sometimes. And so like if I fall asleep and I sleep for a while, that's an accomplishment. And then I can feel
That's a
good
big
about
win.
it.
You did with the activity you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
an
I was
obligation,
supposed to
you
sleep.
feel good about it.
Yeah. So now if I can just do that with making a doctor's appointment, that'd be great. I'll have to do the 5 4 3 2 1 method and then make the call,
Hmm.
without even thinking about it. And then all of a sudden there I am on the phone and they're
Hmm.
answering and I'm like, hi. I people say I need to make an appointment. I don't know what to do. I haven't done this in so long. Can you help me?
You help me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, August, working in the sun in 100-degree heat. I get you,
Ooh.
man. I get you. Yesterday was like 90 here. Ryan loved it, I'm sure. It was all muggy and gross, and we were in a house with no air conditioning, working our butts off. And
Ooh.
I remember, man,
That's hard. That's
dude,
hard.
and there was no circulation anywhere. It's
Mm.
just hot. And like, I was just walking around and I'm like I'm picking up stuff off the floor. That's it. I'm just picking up stuff and throwing it in the trash. And like, I had my safety glasses on and like there's sweat dripping off my face onto my safety glasses and it's like filling up like goggles, right?
Like
It's
you
like
went into the
sweat.
water. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy ridiculous, man.
Wow.
Yep. Oh, to answer your questions, Jay Ho, yes, Ryan is in the
Yeah.
US again. And we're
Yeah.
so happy for that. Um that's
We're
great.
all very happy about it.
You're not going to give me brownies until I make a doctor's appointment? What?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yes. But yeah, so anyway, that's really it for me. Like, I had to learn how to, like what Neonce was talking about. You figure out what your priorities are. You figure out what it is you need to do. And then if you need to write it out, that's
Mm.
very helpful too. You can
Yeah.
write out, these are the 5 things I want to do. And if you limit it to 5, then you have a less of a chance of overwhelming yourself. Like, when you have like 100 things on the list and you're like, crap, what am I going to do now?
Mm.
Um, so, but if you pick 5 and, you go with that, and I've heard a guy say, if you can pick 5 tasks that are the most important things for you to do that particular day, that can be very helpful too. And then you can get yourself excited and be like, how quick can I get through these? Right. Or how,
Hmm.
but not do it all, shoddy performance or something like that, but do it well, do it right. And then see how quickly you can get through it. And you might surprise yourself. But if you can get that narrowed down, get your priorities narrowed down, get yourself out of your limbic system, out of the freeze mode, right? And you can do that in a few different ways. Sometimes you may have a fear that needs to be dealt with, and you just need to accept, okay, here I am. I can't change where I'm at. How do I make it better? And then you can kind of break yourself out. If you're in panic mode, there are some of those things you can do with your left hand and then your right hand and get yourself back into, the real world, right? And then learn how to take action. Because if you take action, it calms all of this stuff. You're no longer frozen when you can take action and just start. And sometimes that's what I've had to do for myself, is just learn to start. And then once you start, you're in it, and then it gets a lot better. And then you can start thinking about finishing, which is really, like, that's a real skill too, to become a good finisher.
That's true.
That's a real skill too.
Mm.
Um, so anyway, that's what I got. Ryan, you got anything else?
That was great.
You're great.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, Joe.
And you're
Um,
great looking too. Look at this guy. I know I keep saying that. Yeah. That's the
yeah,
face. That's it.
that's so good looking. It's,
Yeah.
if I was a model, I was a model.
Man, you are a
I'd be
model.
on every magazine.
Yeah.
So,
You're a model American. You're a model
yeah, that's
American
right.
Australian.
That's right. I am a model citizen.
Are you? Wait, J-Ho says, are y'all coming to the South anytime soon? It's hot enough up here, bro.
It's like we're already in the South, man. All we need is the accent.
Oh, which one? There's a lot of southern dialects.
Any Southern
Lot of
accent. It
southern
depends on how
dialects.
deep you want to go.
Right. You can go deep south.
You can go to the Florida accent, real South.
Florida
But
accent is half
we're already
Michigan.
there.
Right?
Exactly.
They sound like people from Michigan because half of them are from Michigan.
Yes, because they are from Michigan. Yes. If the half that aren't from Michigan are just descendants of people who were from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, we'll let
So,
you know,
oh my
Jeho,
gosh,
when
you guys are
when
great.
we're gonna come down to Georgia. Jesse lives down
Georgia.
there, so
Yeah,
like,
Georgia's
hey,
great.
yeah, we
Yeah.
make a trip down. Anyway,
hmm
sorry, Ryan, I totally cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's totally understandable. It's great. We've got people here who are lovely and wonderful. I felt like there was something I wanted to respond to, but I don't remember what it is now. Anyways, great comments, everybody. Everyone's had a lot of good things to say,
Uh-huh.
and so thank you. I did look back at the other video, and I remember what we were talking about now, and that is paralysis due to your brain thinking it can do something, and it can, but it can't. And when you think you can't, you freeze, but you still believe that it's possible. Okay. And I'm going to draw that out for you. It's like the way that I worked it out last time that made sense to you, Hero, is you have a car and your dream is to build a car and you want to build it from scratch. But then, like, you think about building a car and you're like, okay, I want to build a car. And you get excited and you're like, this is such a great idea. This is my project. I'm going to build a car. This is cool. And then you never go anywhere. Why? Because
I don't have a car. I didn't build it yet.
yeah, because you don't have a car. You haven't built it yet. You don't know how to build a car yet. And it's like, okay, well, how do I build a car? And you're like, well, I don't know. And then you're like, well, okay, so I know that car has like parts. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good.
Specifically, car parts.
Car parts.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, how are you going to? It's like when you go to build the car and you don't have the parts, you are paralyzed
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know why. And the reason you don't know why is because you never built a car before, so you don't know that you need the parts. It's like your brain goes through that and you're like, of course I would know I would need the parts to build a car. No, your brain doesn't know that. And like when you're like thinking, oh, I want to build an animated video, and you're like, and maybe you haven't done that before. Maybe you're tracking in a new territory. It's like, or you're like, you haven't done story building before. You have never done like certain parts of it before. You're like, I know it's possible. I've seen it's been done before, but you've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't know what components are needed. And so if you really want to break the paralysis, stop thinking about doing the thing and first turn the thing into like gather all the components that you need to work with. Like this was really crucial for me and my wife working on some things together. We learned this, and it's like if I take an idea to my wife and I'm say, hey, we need can you do some like concepts for some characters for this thing?
Mm-hmm.
She'll just never work on it. And it's not because she doesn't want to. She's excited to. But she never does. Because she never gets the motivation to actually do it, even though she's excited to. Because as soon as she starts trying to, she's like, I'm trying to create something from nothing. And I can't do that. I don't have anything to work with. I don't feel like I have the freedom just to come up with my own thing, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this paralysis. And so what we learned was if we can break into components, it's so much easier because then she has components to just work with and she's like, oh, I have so many things to work with. I've got all these tools. I can just put these things together, and I can put these things together, and oh, that's a character. Look at that. That's cool. And so if you break things down into components and you clearly define your components, then you can actually start working on your project. So yeah, right? Yeah.
Man,
It's like
you're so needy. You need personalities, backstories, and what does it look like? I mean, I'd probably be like
yeah.
Ryan and be like, just make some characters, man.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the thing. Like, it's totally different. I
I'm
feel like,
sorry. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know,
I'm
just
sorry.
put your pen to
I'm just
paper, start
joking.
drawing, and then there you have it. It's like,
Just
no,
make
of
a
course not.
character, right? No.
Because, like, the point is to build something that's meaningful. And so, if you want it meaningful, you have to start with all of these essences of good intentional components. And so, it's great to identify and clarify what are these components. Again, I think I said this before, but it's like building a puzzle. It's like if you have the puzzle on the box and you see it and you're like, "Hey, this is the puzzle. This is really cool. I want to build this picture with this jigsaw puzzle," right? And you open the box and there's no pieces inside because they expect you to create the pieces yourself. Your mind is probably just going to be overwhelmed and you're never going to build that puzzle, right? But if you find the pieces and you identify what those pieces are, like if you find the pieces, great, but you still don't have a puzzle and you don't have a way to build a puzzle. You have to identify and define in your head what these pieces are. And what I mean is, you look at it and you're like, oh, this is the color blue, and it looks like part of the like maybe it's part of this person's clothing. And you look at, oh, this one's kind of greenish. It looks like part of the tractor. And you're like putting these pieces in your head and you're looking at the picture in front of you and you can identify what colors are and other pieces and put them together and so on. And so finding the components, defining the pieces of the puzzle before you decide like, I'm going to build this, is really helpful for getting out of that paralysis. This applies to pretty much any activity. So that's kind of the thing that we were bringing up last time. That's kind of the note that I ended on last time. And I just kind of want to reiterate it because it's a really interesting, I don't know, I find it really interesting, fascinating that part of the reason, like, and I go through this too. I mean, it's like if we can be paralyzed at the idea of creating something, or we can not even know that we're paralyzed, but we realize there's a project we've not done for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's like, why have I never worked on this?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I choose to do all these other things? Why didn't I pick this up? And then you start to try to pick it up, and then you choose to distract yourself instead again. And you're like, why is it that I can't do this? And the answer is usually something like, well, you're trying to do the project and you see maybe a piece of the end picture, but you don't really see the full end picture. And you're trying to attack it, but you have no angle to attack it from. You have zero angles to attack this project from. Because you need to stop trying to do something and like instead try to like find an attack point first.
Mm.
You need to find the attack point before you can actually do anything. And finding that attack point requires you to figure out the components. So, like a lot of times when we see something like that in our life where we have a project and we haven't done it and we've been like dreaming about it and it's been like years and it's like, why don't you ever do it? Probably because you haven't found the attack point, which motivates you, which gets you into it and into a loop, right? Because as soon as you get into that loop, you start cooking stuff up and you lose track of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're going, and then all of a sudden you're like, like 3, 5, 18, 29 hours in, and you're like, I'm doing this stuff, it's like you realize that you're actually working on something. And then eventually you get that piece of the puzzle done, and then there's all these other puzzles that you have to find new attack points for. And every time that attack point can be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And that requires you to, again, find the components. So first things, always identify the components to your project in that one piece. That one piece has components to it. What are the components? identify them, figure them out, define them as best you can, then find an attack angle with which to work with them on. And then you'll find yourself in that loop I'm talking about, that problem solving loop, that loop where you enter it, you start doing it, you find a problem, you solve it, you start doing a little more, you find a problem, you solve it. And when you see that problem, you can't help yourself but to solve it. So it just gets you working and gets you moving and moving and moving. And then all of a sudden, like I said, you got a piece of the puzzle done. And so that's my recommendation again on, I think, better spoken, better organized this time. That's my answer to when you're feeling paralyzed from either not knowing what to do or having things you know you want to do and you just choose not to do them, right? And you're just like, why am I always choosing not to do it? Probably because you haven't identified the components, and that takes some diligence, that takes some strictness with self. And then finding that attack point, that also probably takes some time to figure out. But then once you do that, yeah, you can get cruising. And then you'll be like, I'm finally doing my project. This is great. And that's going to be really cool. So, yeah.
And you'll be in you'll be in the productive loop, not in the poop loop.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the productive loop. Not the frozen poop loop, but the active... The active action. The active productive. That one. The proactive productive loop. Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to do two P's as well. I don't know why. Perfect. Frozen poop loop. Yeah, I don't know.
Frozen poop loop, productive poop loop. Wait, no.
Fruit loop.
Fruit loop. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. So I don't know. Thank you, Hero. I see you said in here, what did you say? Yeah, this all clicks a lot better in my brain now. I have a better idea of where my focus should be. If I'm doing an animation, what skills do I need to pull this off? And then each skill can be its own project, just as an example. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great.
And you can break it down. When you can break things down into simple tasks, that's one of the best things you can do, right? Because it's like, it really, everything we do can be broken down into something simple. Something that's complicated is really just a whole bunch of simple things rolled into one.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Now, it gets interesting, though, when you're talking about human emotion, especially when you're talking to someone who has a very logical brain and you're dealing with things regarding human emotion. It can be very
that becomes
interesting.
Complicated.
It can get things really complicated. Yes. But because sometimes you are posed with a situation and it's like, okay, what do I do here? And then the answer can be quite simple, but you're not taking into account ramifications of the people's lives you're affecting, all this kind of stuff, right? So like sometimes we got to account for some of that stuff, how our decisions are going to affect people around us, how we're going to affect our friendships or our family members or whatever, right? Like these things are important things to consider as well. Now, I'm not trying to paralyze you because most of the things you do, and I'm sure a lot of the things you're talking about, Hero, aren't going to affect, they're not going to negatively affect your friends and family, right? But those are things to consider as well, right? Because the human impact of things, right? Because I am all for getting stuff done. I'm very task-oriented. I'm a very task-oriented person. But I've also learned how, like my relationships get affected, how my, with my friends and my family and with, people that I love. It's like, that those things have to be accounted for as well. Right?
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Beyonce says, creative stuff is really hard because it doesn't feel like you are forced into a decision. You need to take initiative. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why there's so many unfinished songs, so many unfinished stories, so many unfinished, all kinds of stuff, because in that creative process, a lot of times what we lack is the initiative to get going or the reason to get going or whatever, right? But then when we find the reason, we can really be unstoppable. And you can go into those phases of just being in that zone, man. That zone of getting stuff done and of producing and of making, creating. And it's a great zone to be in. Great. It feels good to be in that zone of, I'm being productive, I'm doing stuff. And the problems that we have in our lives, they really soften quite a bit. There's a quote I heard that a dog in the hunt doesn't know it has fleas. And so like that means when you're focused on your goal, when you're focused on being productive, when you're focused on doing stuff, and when you're in motion and you're making it happen, all those little annoying things in your life quiet down. The voices in my head that are telling me like how crummy of a human I am, they quiet down because I'm focused on the thing that I'm trying to finish. And I have a task at hand and I'm working on it and I'm in that zone. That zone is a great place to be. It calms down our brains, especially our overthinking brains, So, yeah. Hero says, yeah, I've had a very small moment of realization recently that my need to make progress on something every day was potentially going to keep me from building relationships with others by never having enough time for them. My own ambition could be a trap in that sense. Yep, absolutely. It totally can be, right? But it's also good. So you can find, I hate saying, oh, you need to find balance, because you would never find balance, dude. I'm sorry. The people are like, yes, you have to find that balance of, work and people and for all this kind of stuff. Everything's always out of balance a little bit. And for people who say they've found this perfect balance in their life, they're full of nonsense and, whatever. Like, I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, something in your life, you just aren't paying attention to something. Right?
Well, I don't even think there is balance.
Right.
You have choices and they're going to have consequences, right?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you do your best to try to hit everything, but you can't hit everything.
Yep.
So you have to make sacrifices and you choose which ones to sacrifice. And there's no amount of work you could ever do is worth sacrificing a person for.
Absolutely.
But no amount of, right? But it doesn't make sense to live your whole life for a person without doing any work, right? That also is not good. And there's no balance.
Yep.
Just that there are infinite goods and you choose between them and try to do your best to have both.
Tomato, you're so awesome. The only true balance is not falling over while you walk. Good.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one.
Yep. So dang, man, we took like almost the whole time on this topic.
We did get another topic in.
We did?
By the way, thank you for whoever sent that in.
Yeah. Do we know who it is?
No, it's anonymous.
Anonymous. Thank you, anonymous.
Thank you.
Yeah, we won't have time to get to it today, probably.
Will you be with us next Wednesday?
No.
Aw.
Got my boys.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be doing stuff with my boys.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll ask one of your boys to do it for us then.
Do Don't Worry Wednesday? Okay.
Could you imagine? That'd be funny.
My oldest wants to do this show.
Yeah, I mean, let him. That'd be great. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing.
It would be. It would be very interesting.
I would love to have him on.
I just think it'd be funny because
he started streaming gaming on Twitch. Which is pretty cool.
Cool.
Getting advice from a child. I would, he's not really a child anymore. He's bigger than me.
He could beat me up. No.
Yeah, and my youngest, it was so funny. My youngest kid, he was like, I don't know, he was short. And I didn't see him for a week because I have my kids every other week, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
then he, then now he's tall. Like in a week, he got to be taller than his mom, and he's almost as tall as me now. In a week.
Mm, that's so wild.
And so he is prioritizing sleep because he wants to be tall. You know, he's all into
Mm,
basketball, so he wants to be tall, right? Because it would help him. Height can be it can give you an advantage there, right?
mm-hmm.
So like, so he wants to get tall, and so he's like, he's
Growing
learned
dancing.
that if I want to grow, I need to get sleep, which is very true, right?
Mm.
When you're that age, if you want to grow, you know, sleep is one of this very important component of that. And so he's
No
sleeping good,
wonder.
which is
No
great.
wonder I was so short.
Right? Me too. I
I
started
had I
drinking
had
coffee when
ins-
I was 10 and I hate sleep.
mm, I had insomnia since I was like 4, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
right?
That's up why I didn't end up very tall.
You're so short, man. You're like the
Yeah, and my
same
brother
height
was
as me.
like falling asleep whenever he wanted. So hey, he doesn't even have an excuse. But at least he's taller than both of us.
Yep,
So
he is. Well, you and I are the same height, so if
mm,
he's taller than you, he's taller than me.
that's
If
right.
he's taller than me, he's taller than you.
Well, hey, don't
Yeah.
put me in that box.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fine. Math will work that way.
Yes, it's very true. Very true. Wait, Australians are just tall for some reason. Are Australians just tall?
Europeans are tall.
Europeans are tall.
Yeah, they're all so stinking tall over there.
Really?
Yeah,
Maybe because they
it's
sleep
weird.
more.
Maybe. I don't know why.
I don't know. Like everybody else in the world gets more sleep than people in the U.S., man.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Like we're the worst at, like, yeah, everybody's like, you gotta get to work, go get the job, blah, 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 blah. And like, you go to some other country and it's like, I'm gonna work from like 10 to 12 and I'm gonna have a lunch in there, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll work from 10 to 12 with an hour lunch.
Germans are average of 5'11".
Really?
Um,
What about Americans?
but UK is average of 5'9".
Oh,
So UKs are not as tall,
ah.
but they're still taller than me.
What about Americans?
Okay.
Yeah, look it up.
5'9" as well.
5'9". Oh, I'm below average, man.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it.
The average height of a Dutch person is 6'3".
What?
I told you they're so stinking tall over there. I don't understand it.
Wow.
That's the average height
Average
for Dutch
height
men
in. Oh my
is
god.
6'3".
Oh
What the?
man.
Why are they so stinking tall over there?
I don't know.
I guess the winters are hard, and so they just sleep. They hibernate, maybe.
Are
To
the
sleep till
winters
they have
hard
anything
there
other.
though?
I don't. Probably not. Probably
Are they
not.
harder than the winters you had growing up?
No way. They're definitely not.
Because
Iceland, it's 5'11.6". I
wow.
don't know, man. Yeah, Michigan was right in the snow belt. That was, I
Yeah,
think.
winters were
Well, we had a
crazy.
harsher. We had worse winters than Canada, and it was above us. So,
Sometimes, yeah.
but yeah, not all of
Some
Canada, of course,
right.
but all of most of all Ontario
Uh huh. True.
Mhm. and
True.
Quebec. Yeah,
That's how it be, man. Y'all should come to
yeah.
Michigan.
If you want to get real
You
cold,
can live in a swamp with
or you can,
terrible winters, man.
or you can go to Florida and live in a swamp with terrible alligators.
Oh yeah.
Swamp either way, though.
Imagine how tall a culture in Antarctica would be by that logic. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, there is no
Mhm.
culture in Antarctica though. That's not like really. There are no indigenous Antarcticans,
Eskimos. They aren't indigenous,
but
though.
that's not from Antarctica though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not Antarctica.
You could also move to South Georgia or Louisiana. You bet, man. It'd be hot
Hmm.
and crazy and muggy. I've never been to
Can you live in a
Louisiana.
swamp?
In Louisiana, heck yeah.
Okay, good.
Well,
That's
that's
all
where
we
the
care about.
Mississippi River dumps out, right? It's
Oh
basically
yeah.
like
Well, that's got to be swamp.
the mouth of, the Mississippi River, where all of America flows downstream to.
Mm.
All of our stuff.
Do the Great Lakes go into it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Well,
that.
through the I believe it goes out the Chicago River from Lake
Okay.
Michigan. And then there's
Okay.
also, if you go the other way, it goes out the St. Lawrence Seaway,
Okay.
up by Quebec.
All of the Great Lakes are connected to the ocean, correct?
You can get there because they're
Through.
all connected to each other.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. They're all connected to each other, and on Lake Ontario is connected to the ocean through a river. So then that means Mississippi is connected to the ocean, that same ocean. Okay. Wow.
I think. Because
Hmm.
maybe the Chicago River dumps into Lake Michigan. I don't
I don't
know.
know. I'm not a geographist.
A geographist.
That's right. I'm also not a linguist,
A li-
but how do you say it? Linguist?
Linguist. Linguist?
Linguist? I don't know. I just
Linguist.
don't speak English.
Linguistics. Yeah, that's true. You can't live in a swamp, but you can live in a desert that averages 44 degrees Celsius, which is hot.
That is that is actually really hot.
That is
That is
hot.
so
I
hot.
don't really know Celsius all that much, but I'm learning. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's hot.
that's like 110,
This
somewhere
is
around
so
there.
hot. Oof. But it's a dry heat because it's a desert.
Yeah,
It's not
true,
as
true.
bad. Dude, when you get that hot, it's just stinking hot.
Oh, I was
Sorry.
close. I said 110. It's 111.
111.
Wow, that's pretty good for being
Mm-hmm.
just an estimate. 111
They
degrees Fahrenheit.
repave the roads every summer because they melt?
Wow.
Whoa,
They
dude.
probably should they should probably pave them with something that doesn't melt.
Dude,
Save some money.
I'm going down there. I'm gonna fry some bacon on the street.
I hope you don't eat it after you do that though.
Yes, I'm gonna eat it
That's
too.
really tarry.
When it's that hot, it's gonna be sterile.
Yeah, but you shouldn't eat tar.
Why?
Because I don't know, fine, whatever, do what you want. I don't have an answer. I don't know what tar does to the body, but I don't think it's meant to be in it.
Yeah, I don't know
Hey,
either.
prove me wrong. Maybe tar is the spice of life that helps get rid of cancer and everything else
Maybe, maybe.
we've all been missing.
Right.
Hmm.
August, I agree. Dry heat. I will take dry heat anytime over wet heat. You're absolutely right.
Oh yeah,
When the humidity is ridiculous and ugh, it's gross, man. That's why J Ho, I'm I'm sorry that you have to live in a place that's so hot and muggy. I've heard stories.
yeah.
I had a buddy who grew up in Georgia. He said, "Oh, dude, it was so bad sometimes." Um,
Mm.
you know, he's like, "You think Michigan is bad? That's nothing. You should go down to Georgia." I'm like, "Oh boy." Uh,
Mm.
I'd be nervous.
Yeah.
But I did go to Florida.
I
I
went to
went to
Florida in the
Florida
summer.
in
It was great.
yeah, right. I went to Florida in August
Hmm.
one time. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It was
Sweltering.
ridiculous. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like baking and
Hmm.
mugginess and hot and ugh. I was like, man. And the house we were staying at smelled like a fart. And it was
Ugh.
it was great.
Ugh.
But they had air conditioning. So I was appreciative.
Maybe the air conditioner smelled like a fart,
Yeah, it might have been.
blowing it around.
You're right, August. I wasn't with you when you went to Florida. I wasn't.
Mm.
I wished I would have been. That'd have been
That
fun.
would have been cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yep. It was crazy though
Those
because
air conditioning. Yeah, go on.
we swam. We went to Pensacola and we swam in the Gulf, right? And it was so warm. Like the water, it felt like bath water, man. I'm used to when I see water
Mm-hmm.
that's big
Yeah.
and I can't see across it. I'm used to like Lake Michigan or Lake Superior or something, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so cold. Like the water all year is
Yeah.
cold, and you go in there and
Mm-hmm.
it's very refreshing, because
Like it.
what's that? You don't like it?
I say if you like being
Oh,
cold,
if you
sure.
like it, yeah. But
Yeah.
well, when it's really hot and you're just like, oh,
Mm,
it's so hot, and then all of a sudden, like you get in the cold water and you're like, ah, feels nice. And
yeah.
then when you get back out in the heat, it doesn't feel as bad, but it actually feels kind of good because it's warming you up again, right? And you kind of go back and
Sure,
forth
yeah.
from this hot, cold, and then you're exhausted afterwards because your body goes through all these
Yeah.
temperature changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but anyway, it was so weird because I was expecting to put my foot in the water and have it be cold, right? I'm at this
Mm-hmm.
beach and I'm looking out and I
Yeah.
can't see the other side of the water, but it's Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, it was so warm,
Yeah. I
and
love
I'm like,
that.
this is so crazy, so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It feels so. I really like that. It feels so different.
hmm But I
It
will
also tastes
say,
really different.
it's oh yeah, salt water for sure.
Yeah.
Um, we went a few weeks ago. My son and I went to Cedar Point again because that's kind of the thing that we do, you know,
Mm,
and it's on Lake Erie,
mm,
and the beach is a lot like Lake Michigan Beach. It's very, very,
yeah.
very soft sand. Some of the softest sand on earth, man. Great Lakes sand
Mm,
is so soft, and
yeah.
so it reminded me of those beaches. But the water reminded me of Pensacola.
Mm,
It was so
interesting.
it was so warm. I couldn't believe it.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, best of both worlds.
Yep.
Soft sand and warm water.
But it was so hot though, man. I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, you
We
don't
were
really care
so
for
hot. And
that.
this is where my son was like, Dad, it's so hot. Can we just go swim in the lake? I'm like, you don't want to ride more roller coasters? He's like, I do, but it's so hot.
Yeah, and the problem is you're waiting in line in heat.
Yeah.
So you've got nothing to do to keep your mind off of the fact that you're sitting there in the heat,
Yep.
just standing there in it.
Yep.
And then you get in the roller coaster and it's fun and you cool down on it because you're being blown around. That
Right.
only lasts for like a minute or two, and then you're off and you're like, oh, back
Yep.
in the heat again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can
Yeah,
understand wanting to
I heard
take
Texas
it.
had some crazy rains. I heard there was like massive flooding and people like were getting killed by it and stuff. That's crazy,
Whoa, that's
man.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, Texas went nuts this week with the weather last week.
You're in Central Australia? Wow. Do you know the town Humpty Doo?
Humpty Doo. I do not know this town. I feel like I want to know this town.
I've told you about this town before. It's a ridiculous name,
You did tell
Humpty
me.
Doo.
Actually, you did.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Just in brief. It's in, what do you call that? It's in northern Australia, near Darwin. It's just south of Darwin. It's not central. It's too far north to be central, but it's heading. There's a road from Darwin that goes south towards Central Australia. Yeah, yeah. Um,
That's a good question, Otlight. Would you rather live in the Saharic weather or Antarctic weather? I know what Ryan would pick.
yeah, Sahara.
Sahara. That's a good question.
Then I wouldn't die of being thirsty.
In the Sahara?
Yeah,
It's a desert.
yeah. Yeah, but if you live in the Antarctica, you're gonna die of being thirsty.
Why?
Too much snow.
I mean, you can't eat
You
snow and
can't.
get
If
hydrated
you
by
try,
it.
you'll die.
You will
That's
you will
right.
dehydrate yourself if you eat snow. It's the weirdest thing,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
it's true.
you just
You just
cook
gotta
it.
heat
Sure.
the water up. You gotta melt
Yeah,
it and
true.
make the water warm, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't. Then you
Then
don't
you have
die.
nearly infinite water.
Right.
You have to have infinite fire to do that.
Right. I don't
Hmm.
know. I guess it's tough to say. I'd
Yeah, it is
rather I'd
basically
rather
a
live
desert.
in neither.
Yeah. Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
But every place has its own, like, every place has the stuff to deal with, right?
Mm.
To be honest, Michigan is pretty tame.
Yeah, very,
I
very tame.
appreciate how chill Michigan generally is, you know.
Yeah, no, just rarely do you ever get something like a hurricane, but it basically never happens.
Mm-hmm.
No, um, sorry, I meant to say tornado. Never really a hurricane, of course, or a
Yeah, we never,
tsunami, or
right.
nor
Nothing
a
like that.
earthquake. No
Nope.
earthquakes, no volcanoes, no.
We get
Um,
tornadoes, but they're not like the big rippers that go through like Oklahoma, Nebraska, and all that kind of stuff that
yeah,
rip through there. Like those are crazy tornadoes. We get
that's
smaller
crazy.
ones, you know.
And despite being so snowy, we rarely ever actually get hail,
Mm-hmm.
so we're
Yep.
pretty tame, pretty tame.
Yep. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice and chilled. But yeah. So everybody come to Michigan. We would love to have you.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
every one of you.
Yep.
You're welcome, but if it's not really up to us,
Right.
you might have to confirm it with the government. But you're welcome to come on our part.
True. True. Uh-huh. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. We did one topic. We're so good.
Yeah, we nailed it. Hero, I hope that's helpful, though. I hope that the revisit to the topic actually ends up being useful to you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nyanse said so many great things,
Oh
so
my
I'm
gosh,
sure it
yes.
was.
Just go back and read the chat and read what Neonsai said. Like seriously, there is so much good in there. Um,
I like what you said too. You unpacked a lot of stuff. I like that.
well, I like what you said. I was just opened my mouth and stuff came out. Like
That's
you
what I
said
do,
stuff
man.
of
That's
substance.
it's the Holy Spirit can live through our experiences and share what we should
Yeah,
share.
he's like, oh yeah, say this, say this, say this, and I'm like, just you say
It's fine.
it.
You say it. No, you're gonna have to do that. Oh,
Say it with
okay.
my mouth, right? Like,
Yeah.
I should cosplay Kratos, the god of war, for Halloween. Oh boy,
Ooh.
do I look like him?
Oh, yeah, I could see it. I could see it working out. Yeah. It's the beard.
Yeah, it's
Good
fancy.
stuff. Yeah.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging with us. We love you, and yeah, we're gonna be back. Well, I will be back in 2 weeks. Ryan will probably be back next week. I guess we'll see. Uh, I need to say "boy" with a gravelly voice. Boy,
Boy.
boy,
Oh, wow.
boy, with a southern accent.
Boy. Boy.
Boy,
You gonna get
boy,
yours.
you gonna get yours, boy.
Wow.
Boy, I got gravel. I can get some gravel.
Boy.
I get gravel in the morning when I drink bulletproof coffee with full of butter. Boy,
Boy.
boy. Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Amazing.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, take great care of yourselves and the people that are around you.
Yes.
And if you have a topic, go to don'tworrywednesday.com, put it there, hit submit a topic. I'd say put it in the chat, but not anymore because we're closing it down. But yeah, come
Yeah.
on back, and we'd love to hang out with you again. You guys are so awesome. You guys are so
Yes. Thanks
awesome.
for being with us. So awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to
And
see you. By the way, like, it's really nice to see you again. Been a
mhm,
while, as well as obviously J-Ho
mhm.
and Tomato. But yeah, it's really nice to see you guys. If you have any desire to be on next Don't Worry Wednesday, please hit me up because Joe will not be here. And
Mhm.
I need someone to help cover for him.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. So
That
it's
goes to
like
all of you.
spamming the.
Hmm.
Look at that. Go.
Thank you,
Go,
so
Saule.
spam it. Tell him every time.
Sadly, you're at work.
J-Ho, yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
You're working so hard, man. All the
Yep.
time.
Yep. It was good to see all you guys, man. I'll tell you
Mm-hmm.
what.
Yeah, but
I saw, man, I think it was the first time I saw Popkins in the chat. I don't know
oh
if
yeah,
you've been here
Popkins.
before,
That's right.
Popkins, but it's great to,
It was
yeah.
really nice to see you.
Got
Yeah.
to meet you, I don't know,
Nice to
probably a
meet
few
you.
months ago on Discord. You're awesome.
Oh, really?
Um,
That's great.
but yeah. Um, Cool. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next time on Don't Worry Wednesday, and we love you. So yeah, see you around.
All right. Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye now. Peace.